Good evening. Welcome to season 2 of the Magic Kettle discussions. So, season 2, big fun. We're going to be talking dual lands. So, 2-color decks. Sorry. And the first one on the docket today, we're going to be talking about the Selesnya Budget builds. Basically, I'm doing seasonal style idea here. So in honor of spring, we're doing green and white, the Selesnya colors, and that's where I'm going to start all of this. Now, as we go through, I will be going through the different color wheel, essentially, as we go through the seasons. Seasonal, essentially, not the whole, and that'll be the whole premise of the season 2. It'll be a lot of fun. Now, for those who are new here to first time watching about budget builds, I'm basing my deck ideas and things that I'm sharing with you guys on essentially a dollar commander format. So, dollar commander format being your commander can cost 2 or less by a print, which means if you have, say, for example, a very one-of-a-kind special print that costs you, say, $20, let's say, for example, as long as there is a print that's under $2, you're good to go. Same thing applies to the rest of the remaining part of the deck. So, the 99, as they call it in the commander terms, has to be $1 and less. And again, the same thing that the commander cost applies to the 99. If you have a special type of release of artwork for a particular card that costs you X amount of dollars, so long as there is a print that's under $1, even if it's 99 cents, it counts into the deck and you're good to go. Now, Selesnya builds. Some ideas. Some of you may think I will be talking about elves again because of the mono green. No. I'm skipping that. I almost did. I will at least bring it up at least as a card for Dollar Commander. Because I actually thought this thing would be a little more expensive given the ability and what it can do for you. But we'll get to that near the end of the discussion here. All right. First up, Trastani, Selesnya's voice. The little discussion of today for Selesnya. Green and a green, white, white. So 4 mana total. She is a 2/5 druid, legendary creature. Her ability says, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So, you are essentially gaining 1 life, as an example, of 1 life if you remember making, let's say, tokens, which is kind of where I'm going to be going with this. But there are other really powerful tokens. And actually, this is going to throw in essentially some wombo combos of infinite possibilities. Okay? So, but we're going to go through these one by one. First up, the Herd Baloth. Okay? 3 colorless, green, and a green. Hello there, viewer. Thank you for joining. Hopefully you enjoy the discussion for today. So, Herd Baloth, 3 colorless, a green, and a green. 4/4 beast. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on this creature, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. Keep that in mind. For any counter that's 1 or more. Now, 1 or more does not mean, oh, I'm getting 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. No, it does work that way. However, it has to be separate moments. So if something gives it 2 1/1 counters, that is 1 activation of this trigger. Then you do it again with, say, a singleton. Same thing. Then it continues on. Okay? And we'll get to that. Also, this card costs you 38 cents. By himself, just 38 cents. Okay? Next card in line. Ivy Lane Denizen. 3 and a green. It's a 2/3 elf warrior. Whenever another green creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Okay? This card costs 26 cents. So, for a grand total of 64 cents, these two cards alone, the Herd Baloth and Ivy Lane Denizen, that is an infinite combo. It has been discussed in the past a little bit here and there, I'm sure, between online forums, other videos. That's the first time. First I heard of it was on actually a YouTube short. The first time I ever heard of it. But 64 cents and you have an infinite combo. This is an infinite token combo, to be exact. And here's why. So Ivy Lane Denizen says green creature enters the battlefield. Herd Baloth makes a green beast creature token. Green is the key word that makes this an infinite combo. Okay? So every time, so you have Ivy Lane Denizen out first, followed by Herd Baloth. Ivy Lane sees the Baloth come in, gives it the 1/1 counter, makes the beast token. Oh, another green creature came into play. Ivy Lane Denizen. Let's give that 1/1 token to Baloth again. And again, and again, and again. Now, there is only one huge downside. This can still be interrupted by instances and everything else. That is still an issue. But there's a bigger problem at the end of the day. No haste. None of the creatures have haste as they come in. We will come to that in just a few moments. But let's talk about a little bit about how you can take advantage of such an infinite combo. This also is a May ability for the Herd Baloth, which is another important distinction here as well. Okay? Ivy Lane Denizen is not a May, but Baloth is. So you could put a 1/1 counter on Baloth, all right? And essentially, you can stop making the counter after that. It basically stops the whole interaction right then and there. Okay? But speaking of the interaction, the next card can take advantage of these creature tokens that are power 4 coming into play for you. Garruk's Pack Leader. 4 colorless, 1 green. Beast, 4/4. Whenever another creature you control with power 3 or greater enters, you may draw a card. This is also a May ability. This is another great thing. Because even if you decide, oh, I'm going to make infinite beast tokens, you don't have to draw out your whole deck. Which is exactly what would happen if you just went, yeah, I'm just going to keep drawing until I have no more cards. Now, if you wanted to be like a little funny, ha ha ha, and be like, hey, I got this to work. I'm going to draw my deck out and lose. Bye, guys. Thank you. This was really a lot of fun. You can definitely do that. Have fun with it. That's the whole idea of the game. Have fun. Now, this doesn't solve the problem yet of having haste, right? But there is a card that does. The card that will give you the power to essentially throw your entire beast army at everyone is a card called Uvenwald's Oddity. Came out of the Crimson Vow set. 2 colorless, 2 green. Okay? 4/4 beast. It has trample and haste. This is also a flip card. So if anyone who plays is familiar that the Crimson Vow and the the werewolf set messed with the day and night mechanic again at that point. But you don't necessarily have to worry about day and night with this one because of the oddity's ability. Okay? Pay 5 colorless. This is a heavy cost, but there's a reason. 5 colorless, 2 green. You transform the oddity into the Uvenwald Behemoth. It is an 8/8 beast horror. That's not the scary part. The scary part is where you read, Other creatures you control get +1/+1 and trample haste. This is the card that literally says, all right, I have an infinite army of 5/5 beast creatures, and I'm throwing it at all of you. Now, Ubenwald Oddity costs 41 cents by himself, just 41 cents. So we have 41 cents for the Oddity. Denizen at 26 cents, so you're at 67 cents right there. Followed by Herd Baloth at 38 cents, which means for literally $1, make sure I do my math right. I said 67 plus 38. So for $1.05 total on 3 cards, $1.05, you have an infinite creature combo with a haste enabler. Now we can talk about the other cards adding into this. So like the pack leader going 33 cents. Now you're up to $1.38. Followed by Nyla's Forerunner. This is the one that doesn't give haste. However, it's kind of like a redundancy, realistically. However, even if you don't have haste, it could matter at like down the road. But Nyla's Forerunner is 4 colorless and a green. 5, power 5, defense 3. It's a beast, but it's an enchantment creature. Trample, and then other creatures you control have trample. So again, this is something that could be done long term if you are able to. Now, that in itself is really, really good. But here's another thing too. Because as we were talking about this being an infinite combo and you can wipe out boards, and not only that, players on top of this, you're also gaining infinite life because of Tristani's, because of Tristani, Selesnya's because of Tristani. Because every time a beast creature comes in, doesn't matter. It doesn't say token, it says creature. You're gaining 4 life because of 4 toughness off your green beast creature token. That's pretty significant. That is wild. And so even if you don't decide to use Garruk's pack leader, there's another one where it is mana more intensive as far as what you pay into, which is what makes Garruk's pack leader a little more passive and usable. But you're also playing in the colors of green, which has great ramp cards. And when I say ramp, I mean basically allows you to get the land cards, so the basic lands in particular, to get on the battlefield and to keep your game plan in motion. But one card we're going to talk about is an artifact for this particular style of deck, Well of Lost Dreams. It is an artifact, costs 4 colorless. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained. If you do, draw X cards. So this is all manifestive upon how much mana you have. That's really it. And that, if that's the only limitation, it's not the worst thing in the world for a 4-drop artifact, at least in something that's kind of a real high casual play, such as Casual Commander. Now, I'm talking infinite, and most people are like, oh, infinites are like wild things. They can be, but again, this is going to be about finding what you like to play. You don't necessarily have to play an infinite combo if you do not wish. I would do it myself because I want to see it in action. And after that, it's like, all right, what's next? So, another one. This is a very interesting card too. Since we're talking about Tristani in particular, there's a card that's a 1-drop. Speaker of the Heavens. Costs only 1 white mana. 1. Or as they say, it's a 1-drop. So that's another term you will hear on occasion. When you hear 0-drop, 1-drop, 2-drop, 3, we're talking about the total amount of mana involved to pay and play the spells, or at least the cards in your hand. Now, as I was saying, Speaker of the Heavens, 1 white mana to play. Human Cleric, he is a 1/1. Vigilance, lifelink. Okay? Doesn't sound super impressive. His ability, on the other hand, plays very well into what Tristani can do for you. As a tap ability, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Activate this ability only if you have at least 7 life or more than your starting life total. With Tristani, that's pretty quick, especially if you are constantly able to create creature tokens, if you're able to constantly play creature spells, or even like green has like certain life gain totals as well. There's a card that has a storm ability. I believe it's called Shelter from the Storm, I believe. But it is a sorcery, which isn't impressive, but it has a storm ability. So what storm does is every spell you cast, whether that's creature, instant, sorcery, enchantment, artifact, 5 different ways. If you're casting, let's say you manage to cast one of everything up to a sorcery, and this Shelter in the Storm is your sorcery. Every spell you cast tacks on and makes a copy of this spell. And it gives you 3 life upon resolution. So essentially, you have the original, then the additional 4 times you cast it as the storm ability goes off. You just gain 15 life for a grand total of, I believe it's only 3 mana tops. That's it. 3 mana for 15 life. Plus all the other stuff. It may seem weird. Actually, yeah, I mean, it may seem weird, but to me, if you have like low cost stuff, like if you manage to play 4 spells for a total of, let's say, 5 mana, and you have the remaining mana to gain 15 life, do it. I think it's great. But I digress. So 7 or more than your starting life total, but this is the other caveat for the Speaker of the Heavens. You can only do this at sorcery speed. It's slow, but I think the trade-off is fantastic. Now, let's say for a moment you want to do other things. Yeah, say you like playing Sacrifice. Say you like to get rid of stuff and have it come back. So there's an enchantment that's really handy here, especially if you're making tokens that essentially you can get rid of and not feel too bad about losing as far as an asset is concerned when you're playing the game. So here's an enchantment that's called Evolutionary Leap. 1 colorless and a green, 2 mana. Enchantment. Its ability states, pay a green, and you can do this at instant speed. It doesn't restrict you. You could do this at instant speed. So you could take your token, chump block somebody attacking you with something that's going to maybe kill you, then activate Evolutionary Leap for 1 green mana. You sacrifice the creature. That's what it says here. Sack a creature. Then you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Then you put it in your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's essentially an open-faced tutor in its own way. The only restriction is it has to be a creature. It may not be the creature you're looking for, but again, being what I call an open face that everyone will see the card that you're going to put in your hand. Again, it comes down to how you guys like to play. I just like to play willy-nilly. It's fun. I love putting things together. So, passing in to the next commander I'm going to pitch out to you guys. This one also came out of the Crimson Vow set. Tristani actually is from a much older set. She has been reprinted a few times, but originally she was from a much older set. So, Tauren's Fist of the Angels. 1 colorless, a green, and a white. He is a 2/2 human cleric, again, legendary creature. Excuse me. It has an ability called Training. Training says, whenever this creature attacks with another creature with greater power, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Now, there is an opposite mechanic of this that is older than Training, and it's called Mentor. You'll hear me talk about a couple cards that kind of will fit into this as well. These two essentially play off each other very well. So, but here's the rest of... So speaking of, since we're talking about 1/1 counters, this thing is also about buffing everything. There's a card that came out of the Ninja Turtles set. High score, 2 and a green. It is an enchantment. If one or more 1/1 counters would be put on a creature you control, put that many plus 1 additional counters are put on instead. So, if there are familiar players who watch these episodes, some of you will recognize what this ability is. For those who do not, who are new to the channel, who are new to getting into Magic, there is a card called Hardened Scales. This thing has been reprinted a good handful of times, but High Score is basically another reprinted version of Hardened Scales. And High Score, when I looked at it and I was doing the research, it was a 94-cent card. So it was less than $1. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool. A Hardened Scales for a budget build? Yes, that's great. I love that. Now, in addition to what High Score does as far as counters are concerned, for +1/+1 counters to be exact, at the beginning of your end step, draw a card if you control a creature with the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield. So that means not only you, but also your opponents as well. You will hear a little bit more. There are a few tutors in here, but there's also going to be a couple other things that are going to take advantage of having legendary creatures. This could be, you have the potential of building what some people call a legendary deck. It's basically heavy-handed with all kinds of legendary creatures, legendary artifacts, and there are many. And there are many that are well under $1 as well. Well, yeah, especially creatures. Creatures, there are many, many, many. So, next card on this list, the Surima. This came out of the Edge of Eternity set. And honestly, the art looks really, really cool, by the way. So, this costs 1 colorless, 2 white. So it's a 3-mana card. It is an artifact creature. It's a legendary artifact, to be exact. It's classified as a spacecraft. This is one of the new terms that they put out with Edge of Eternities. It is a 5/5 when it becomes a creature. So, when Surima enters, excuse me, search your library for a legendary creature, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So, it's an ETB tutor card. Now, the next one, this ability, you'll see this when you're looking through Edge of Eternities. Anyone who's getting into the game and anyone who's already been digging through these sets since they've been out, Station is the mechanic that came out with this. So you tap another creature you control, put charge counters equal to its power on this spacecraft. It becomes an artifact creature at 7+ charge counters. Okay? So if you have, the quickest example I'll give is if you have a creature that is power 7, tap it, put those you're tapping it and putting counters on the Surima, it automatically becomes a creature. Ta-da, done. And you don't have to leave. It's not a crew ability, so your creature can still untap, which is another great thing. Crew, actually, strike that. Crew, you can still untap for it. I forgot. I'm sorry. Pressing on. But when it is a legendary creature, when it becomes an artifact creature, I should say, it has flying, and then other tapped legendary creatures you control have indestructible. So this deck sets itself up, it does lend itself to essentially buff each other up with +1/+1 counters in interchangeable moments, but it is also aggressive. It can be an aggressive type deck. So, going back to the mentor discussion, I have 2 examples for you. So the 2 examples are Blade Instructor, 2 colorless and a white, so again, 3 mana. It is a power 3, toughness 1. and not a whole lot going for it. All it has is Mentor. So here's what Mentor can do, and you'll see kind of how training is interchangeable here. Whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with less power. So if you have Blade Instructor on the board, which is a power 3, toughness 1, swinging with Toran, for example, who is a 2/2, now Toran gets the mentorship, and then it gets the mentorship. So it turns him into a 3/3. And then he also still gets a buff as well with greater power. Yep. So when he gets a 1/1 counter from the mentorship, yes, when he gets the mentorship, he becomes a 3/3. Then the training also kicks in because he was also still under power. He was also not that powerful when he swung in to begin with. That is exactly those two abilities together will still resolve. Also, I forgot. Toran has another ability that's going to matter in this. When I say it's about this deck has potential to be aggressive, every time you cast a creature spell, you make a 1/1 green-white soldier with training. So, excuse me. Yes. So, every creature you make gives you another creature. So it's a 2 for the price of 1, which is pretty good. Now, another mentor card is the Sun Home Stalwart. It is 1 colorless and a white, so he's only 2 mana. It is a 2/2 with First Strike. So what First Strike does is basically he deals the damage first before the blocking creature does. But he also has Mentor, so just like Blade Instructor. Training and mentorship flip back and forth and work with each other really, really well. Now, how else could you take advantage of these two abilities that sync with each other? Okay, so training is about they have a lower power attacking with a higher power creature. Mentor is when a lower creature is attacking with him who has the higher power. He is mentoring he's basically, it's like, oh gosh, what's the best way I could put it? It's kind of like, it's just like regular, like military boot camp. Right? It's military boot camp, I think. Maybe I might be wrong, but it's the idea of basically you have someone who's just coming in with almost no knowledge, and then you are pretty much helping him out get better and better and better. That's what the training and mentorship do with each other. So, since we're making tokens with Toran already by casting creatures, and it is a cast trigger, it is not an ETB, it's just a cast trigger. So, there's a couple enchantments that work really, really well here. So, one is Awakening Zone. This came out of one of the Eldrazi sets. I think it's the Zendikar Rising, I believe. Correct me in the comments if I got it wrong. But Awakening Zone is 2 colorless and a green. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token. It has an ability that says it'll have the ability of sacrifice this creature, add 1 colorless. So essentially, you have a sacrificial mana gain as a chump blocker, 0/1. But mentorship can turn that into a 1/2, and so on and so forth. Now, mentorship actually can't, I believe, you guys can check this out for me if you wish, but I believe mentorship triggers individually across each creature. So if you have 2 mentorship creatures that are attacking with something that has lesser power, it gets buffed up twice. Just a thought. Now, the next one is an enchantment aura. So this would be great to put on Torans or any other type of creature that you can basically keep protected, perhaps, because of the long-term implications this card will have for the game. Cathar's Call, 2 and a white, enchantment aura, and now Enchant creature, which means you cast the spell and you are targeting a creature with this enchantment in particular. Enchanted creature has vigilance, and at the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 white human creature token. So again, 1/1 creatures, stuff that can be buffed up over time, and it's just going to be a snowball effect. Again, it's still slowly going through, but again, it's slow. There are ways, if you wanted to go up higher and a little more expensive, to really make this go very, very quickly. But again, we're talking budget here. But you guys do as you wish. I'm just throwing these ideas out to you guys and to see essentially what comes of it. I'm very interested. So, speaking of, when I was talking about the mentorship, there's a couple other cards that have training within these colors that are very useful. So, Griff Rider, 2 and a white, so for 3 mana. 2/1 flyer, and it has training. That's really it. It's nothing over the top, nothing excruciating. So, that's a great one. And then there's another one that goes right along with it, and that would be the Griff Wing Cavalry. So they're pretty much two sides of the same coin, just different name. But this one, the Cavalry costs 3 colorless and a white. So he is a 4 mana card, but it's a 2/2 with flying and training. If you guys could probably kind of see how this is going. Now, this card in particular, this next card in particular, is going to be very, very helpful, especially if you have someone with protective auras, and they do exist. So if you have built, let's say you've built Tyrants as a human tribal deck in particular, and excuse me, and you want to get around that. This card in particular was fairly expensive at the time. I think the last I remember it being at was like somewhere between 5 and 10. Maybe 20 at one point. I mean, it's been so long since I've seen it because I'm like, I don't think I'll ever own one. But just like a stock market, it crashed very hard as far as the monetary value. However, even with monetary value, it's still really good. Mirror Entity. So MIRROR, Mirror Entity. ENTITY. This card is going to matter significantly for this particular deck. And when I talk about the aura protection of, you can't hit me because you built a human tribal deck. That's what I'm talking about. There are such cards that do exist, and they are awful to deal with. But Mirror Entity, 2 colorless, 1 white. It is a shapeshifter. It's a 1/1. It has an ability called Changeling. What Changeling is, for those who do not know, is Changeling says it's all creature types. It is recognized as all creatures. So, it has a great ability, though. Pay X, and that's it. X mana into this creature for his ability at instant speed, and until the end of your turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX, and are creatures of all types. There is a downside to this. I will tell you, there is a downside. Do not pay 1 mana into this guy. Not one. Not a single. This is meant to pretty much be like, I have a run of 1/1 creature tokens. I have stuff with 1/1 counters on it. You pay 4 mana. Just a simple 4. Your 1/1s just turned in base power toughness 4/4. Also, though, your creatures that got the 1/1 counters also became 4/4s. Now, yes, and it does say all creature types, so I guess this doesn't get around the auras as I thought. So ignore me on that one. But hey, human. Hi, human. Anyway. As I say, so if you have a creature with +3/+3 in the form of counters, let's do Blade Instructor. Blade Instructor is a great one that we'll do an example with. So Blade Instructor is a 3/1. You have +3/+3 in the form of counters. So it's a 6/4, right? 6/4. but you use Mirror Entity. You just transformed it into a 4/4, which means she just became a 7/7 because of the counters that are already existing upon her. Yeah, it changes numbers very, very quickly. Now, this next one, this one is an elf. However, I'm not doing the giant elf ball idea. This can become an elf ball, don't get me wrong. This one, too, though, does have an infinite combo that you technically could use with Tauren's ability as well. Well, sorry, no, not Tauren's ability. Tauren's ability is cast. But the Tauren deck in general, you can use it in the deck just because of the color mashup that's going on here. So, Amara, Soul of the Accord. 2/2, Elf Cleric. Her ability says, whenever Amara, Soul of the Accord, becomes tapped, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. That's pretty good. Every time it becomes tapped, though. It doesn't have a tap ability built into her, which means you'd have to attack with her. But there are ways around this. There are auras. There are artifact equipments. Those two are the top ones that can do it for you. So, first one is a equipment. The Viridian Longbow. It's a 1-drop equipment artifact. Equipped creature has tap. This creature deals 1 damage to any target. It has an equip cost of 3. Now, you just tapped Amara for 1 damage to something. You just got a soldier, and it's as a bonus as well. So for a grand total of 5 mana, you now have essentially a single turn token producer for yourself. Or also instant speed too. If you wanted to leave her standing and they're like, oh, end step, I'll just ping you for 1. Ta-da! And I get a token. And I get a 1/1 creature with lifelink. Okay, great. The next one is a one that goes really well, and it's also great for helping with mana production for this. This is why it's great to have something that it's great to have things that can give you a benefit for tapping. It's pretty good. Leylines Immersion. This came out of the Aftermath set. So after the Phyrexial WB1, it was the Aftermath set that came after that. For 3 colorless and a green, so 4 mana total. Enchantment Aura. You enchant a legendary creature. Amara counts as a legendary creature, guys. Enchanted creature has Ward 2. So when you hear the word Ward essentially is extra spell protection. Now, the number associated means, let's say someone had to pay 2 mana for a piece of removal that wanted to get rid of Amara. Now with this, though, on the board and also attached to Amara, that 2-drop creature removal just turned into 4. That's how that works. So it's Ward X. So whatever X is how much additional mana that the person casting the spell against whatever it targets, it must be accounted for. So, again, when we were talking about Tristani kind of and gaining infinite life, this one is not as mana intensive as far as comparatively to when we discussed earlier. But you also could use this in Tristani as well as Tauren's and decks as well. You'll see if you're new to the channel and new to the show, a lot of the stuff I discuss kind of goes interchangeable, especially when it comes to the color pies that I end up talking about in each episode. So you will see that a lot. So, but pressing forward, first kind of card I'm going to talk about. Core Celebrant. 2 and a white. Core Cleric. This came out of a Zendikar set, Zendikar Rising, I think, again. I could be wrong. I know it's a Zendikar set though, because I have some of these cards myself. But a core cleric, 1 power, 4 toughness. Whenever core celebrant or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, gain 1 life. So with Amara giving you creature tokens, you gain a life. It's not bad. Next, though, is an enchantment aura. Presence of Gond. G-O-N-D. Gond. 2 colorless and a green enchantment aura. You enchant a creature. Enchanted creature has tap, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Now, you might think I'm talking about putting this on Amara. No. I got introduced to this combo when I was playing the budget games at a local card shop, and I was blown away. I literally was like, this thing's nuts and broken. It's how much? These 3 cards that I'm going to be discussing. So far we're at Core Celebrant, gives you a life every single time a creature enters the battlefield, including himself. Presence of Gond creates a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token every time the creature is tapped. So far, we're only at less than 50 cents right now. The last card, Midnight Guard. 2 colorless and a white, so he's also 3 mana. Human Soldier, 2 power, 3 toughness. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, untap Midnight Guard. This is where it is infinite life, infinite tokens. Because, so, if anyone's been following along yet, Midnight Guard is on the field. You have enchanted him with the presence of Gond. You now tap Midnight Guard. I make a 1/1 elf warrior token. Hey, a creature just came into play. Midnight Guard untaps. And you do it again, and again, and again, and again. And Core Celebrant happens to be on the field. You are gaining 1 life for every elf warrior creature token that's coming into play. Boom, boom, boom. And it's infinite life, infinite creatures. So, again, 2 different ways of making infinite creatures getting infinite life with 2 different style of commander. This is what makes it very, very interesting. Like, the strategies and whatnot could be universally the same, but how you go about it is where you get your own uniqueness about it, which is what I love. So, another enchantment is a great one. It's also a repeatable enchantment, and you will see why in a second. Rancor is the name of the enchantment. No joke. Rancor. So if there's any Star Wars fans out there, enjoy the name. Rancor, it is for 1 green mana, enchantment aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0, has trample. When Rancor is put into a graveyard, from the battlefield, return Rancor to its owner's hand. So that means every time Rancor goes to the graveyard, it comes back to you. And you can pay 1 mana and play it again. And again, and again, and again, until someone decides, okay, I'm sick of looking at this card, I am exiling it from the graveyard. Which 9 times out of 10 doesn't really happen. Because, again, it's not like breaking anything by any sense of the imagination. So, but that is one way. So far we have talked about an aggressive style Selesnya deck. We have talked about 2 different types of infinite combos, and basically how to use them across even just 3 of these. You can use it across another if you so wish. Now, this is a deck I'm hoping to build someday. And because I do still have cards left over, don't get me wrong, I would love to build it and just like solitaire it just to see how it goes. So, this one is an Archer build. And we're talking Archer Tribal. But there's a tiny caveat to how the Tribal will function. And there are cards that I have found just in digging because I was like, okay, how can you do it? How can you do it? So hopefully this will kind of get some people also excited about this particular one because I got excited when I saw it. I was like, this is cool. An archer tribal? Yes, please. Ohabi Caleria. I believe she came out of not the Dominaria Remastered, but it's the one after that one, I think. Been a hot minute. But she is a elf archer, power 1, toughness 4. She has reach. Untap all archers you control during each untap step. So just like if you have heard about some of the high-powered cards such as Seaborn Muse that allows you to untap everything on your opponent's untap steps, very similar here, except this one is archer specific. Okay, archer specific matters here. But whenever an archer you control deals damage to a creature, you may pay 2 colorless, draw a card. This is why untapping all your archers on your opponent's turn, it's repeatable card draw. It's costly because it's 2, and 2 does add up when you're talking about 2 on your own turn, 2 on another, 2 on another, 2 on another on a 4-man game. 8 mana, but 8 mana for 4 cards. It's like, well, you're paying 2 mana and sacrificing a clue to draw a card. I think it's a fair trade. And you're also able to do this at instant speed also. At least there are abilities that some archers have that are at instant speed that you can do this with. I picked the cards I selected for this. I did these because I like being different. So, strangely enough, this thing is going to revolve around the Changeling ability, which we did discuss earlier on with the Mirror Entity. So, excuse me. So, Mirror Entity is great to throw in here as well because, again, you turn everything to every single creature type. You don't have to put a whole lot of mana in it to essentially build the deck you want without being Archer Tribal, but you can still utilize Caleria's ability. But I'm going to focus it towards the Archer standpoint. Okay? First card to discuss. Harpoon Sniper. 2 and a white. So 3 mana, 2 colorless, 1 white, 3 mana. This is a Merfolk Archer. Yes, Merfolk Archer. Pay a white. Tap. This is also at instant speed. Harpoon Sniper deals X damage to target attacking or blocking creature, where X is the number of merfolk you control. Now, there is not a whole lot as far as merfolk archers. There's a lot of archers. There's a good chunk of merfolk. So, I wanted to take advantage of being able to tap things and untap stuff. So when we were discussing about the bow earlier, for example, from the Viridin longbow. Did I say that right? Yeah, I can talk. All right, the Viridian longbow. There we go. So being able to tap and deal 1 damage to any target. This can matter with the first card that can give you merfolk in general. This is also in white. Stony Brook Schoolmaster. I have myself a tribal merfolk deck in 3 colors. When we get there, unfortunately, I can't do it because it's not budget, unfortunate. But there are probably some cards that I will bring up. Anyway. Stony Brook Schoolmaster, this is one of them. 2 colorless and a white. It is a Merfolk Wizard, power 1, toughness 2. Whenever Stony Brook Schoolmaster becomes tapped, you may put a 1/1 blue Merfolk Wizard creature token into play. That's pretty good. because every time you tap it, you're getting a merfolk. Now, if you're using this with your mirror entity in particular, just pay 1. Oh, let's say pay 1 when it reaches your opponent's for their untap step. Pay 1 in a mirror entity. Stony Brook just became a 1/1, but it's also a merfolk. It's also an archer. It's a merfolk wizard, but also it just became an archer because it's all creature types. And Caleria will see it as an archer, untap, and then end step, do it again. And just you can do this every single turn, and it's only for 1 mana, but you're getting a lot of benefit out of it. So, another great one that I came across. This is great for kind of recursion, especially within white. You see this a lot in black. You'll see it somewhat in green, somewhat in blue. Black is the heaviest as far as recursion is concerned. But it's Meander's Guide. This came out of the newest set that just came out, the Eclipse, Lothwain Eclipse, I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly, most likely not, we'll see, but it's the Eclipse set that just came out. And this thing's pretty neat. I like this one. Meander's Guide, 2 colorless, 1 white. It is a merfolk scout, not an archer, but the ability is going to matter here. 3 power, 2 toughness. But whenever this creature attacks, you may tap another untapped merfolk, which means you can tap the counter the creature token you just made with Stony Brook. But untap a merfolk you control. When you do, target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard and bring it to the battlefield. For free, for that. Literally tapping 2 cards, you just got a card back for no mana additional. Just tapping 2 creatures. That's it. That's pretty good. It's a good trade-off. Now, I mentioned the shapeshifters. I mentioned changelings. These 2 go hand in hand. Birthing burrows, or bows. Now, I think it's supposed to be burrows. It might be a mistype. I don't know. But I'm going to call it burrows. It's just a regular artifact. Costs only 3 mana. Pay 4, tap. Create a 2/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. So you just made a 2/2 everything. Pretty good, I'd say. It feeds, again, it'll feed into basically the power that Harpoon Sniper will deal with every time you tap and use its ability. Pretty good, I'd say. Now, another one, if you wanted to do something other than say an artifact equipment. Oh wait, let's try. Sorry. Tapping to deal damage as far as an artifact equipment goes. This one actually will play into, again, the whole shape-shifting and changeling. So the Stalactite Dagger, it is an artifact equipment. It costs 2 colorless. When this equipment enters, create a 1/1 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. That's just an ETB trigger. Pay 2 to equip it to another creature, one that doesn't have changeling. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and is all creature types. So that's part of what's going on here when you're talking about the Elf Archer setup and the ability to untap all archers on every opponent, on the opponent's untap step. Giving every creature type can be good, but also can be hurtful, depending on what your opponent's built. But, again, these are just thoughts. These are ideas that I wanted to share out there and see what you guys think. Now, some universal cards that can go across all of these. We're reaching the end of the show. This is some other important stuff. So, some of these cards used to be pretty expensive until they got reprinted into the ground. But realistically, I'm not going to complain because I needed them way back when I got back into when I got back into playing roughly 6 years ago when COVID happened and Ikoria was kind of on the tail end of leaving, I think. But Generous Gift is the first one. Oh boy. Yes, Generous Gift is the first one. 2 and a white, instant speed. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 elephant creature token. There's another one that's literally the exact same wording, minus a change of name of card, color wheel it's in, and the type of token it makes. Beast Within. 3 and a green. Instant speed. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. These two are like classic staples within white decks, green decks, and those two in particular. Doesn't matter if you are a single color, dual color, tricolor, 4-color, 5-color. They are staple cards of removal. Do you see them all the time? No, because there's always more efficient things. But for me, these two are like top of my list. Now, I also talked about green being a ramp color, being able to fetch your lands and everything else. Skyshroud Claim. I remember this card back in the Nemesis days. Nemesis days for me was 2001 when I just got into high school. Yeah, I'm old. So, Skyshroud Claim. 3 colorless and a green. It is a sorcery, so you can only do it on your turn. Search your library for up to 2 forest cards. Not basic lands, forests. So if you have a dual land that says forest on it, you can get it. And you put them on the battlefield. They don't come in tapped. You just put them out there. There you go. However, most of the dual lands that are not uber efficient, when they say come in tapped, you unfortunately have to do it that way, but you still get them, which is a huge deal. But then you shuffle your deck after you've done this process. Cultivate. This is one that's a top of the list, like place in every green deck you own. Cultivate. 2 and a green. Sorcery. So again, on your turn, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards, put one onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand. Then you shuffle your deck. Okay? This last card I'm putting out here because I had used it a couple different times and it mattered immensely. It actually saved my board more than once. And it was a card it's a card that's so obscure. I have yet to come across somebody who'd heard of it. Even those who have been around playing for a good long time. So, Hollow. Hallow. Costs 1 white. Instant speed. Prevent all damage target spell would deal this turn. You gain life equal to the damage prevented this way. Now, in a 1v1, it's not uber impressive, which is probably part of the reason why it's just out of people's minds. But in a commander setting, that's potentially a lot of life. The best example I can give is it's a game that I was playing. I have Hollow in a dollar Boros deck. It is a Voltron deck. Shocking, probably shocking to none of you. So, I also have a card though in this deck. It's kind of an off topic with the color scheme, but it's the only way I can explain how this worked. It's a card called Chain Reaction. I'm playing against a token deck that's literally making insects like a beehive just got kicked, and it is horrifying. And I end up pulling this card called Chain Reaction. 2 colorless, 2 red, 4 mana. So I'm very low on health, but I had enough tools to survive. As far as, oh, you are doing that? Okay, I can at least block enough to not die yet. So I played Chain Reaction. deal X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. So, I had double checked on this when I actually was about to play it. So, chain reaction is dealing damage to every single creature that's on the battlefield, including your own. It's a board wipe. But Halo prevents all of that. And you inherit the damage as life gain. So, this particular game, I had a total of like 4 creatures, but the token insect deck I was up against was already up into the realm of about 30-ish. So I gained. It was dealing. Here's the craziest part of all of this, because it's the X is the number of creatures. So I was dealing 34 damage to each creature. If you guys can bear with me to do a little bit of math, because I don't think I can do that off the top of my head right this minute. So 34 damage across every single creature. So 34 damage a piece at 34. 16, carry the 1, 12, 1, 12, carry the 1. Yes. I gained 1,156 life because Halo prevented it all and gave it to me as life gain. Yeah. Halo by itself, it only costs 30, it's between 30 and 40 cents. So, if you have someone who wants to use a card like Blasphemous Act, same thing. It deals 13 damage to each creature, and Halo prevents it. So again, you can gain a lot of life and keep yourself protected until someone kills you with commander damage, basically. But yeah, that was a huge, huge revelation for me when I pulled that off, and that's how the math worked. Like, oh God. So, never dismiss something if something catches your eye and you're like, oh, how does this work? Could this do something? Never overlook it. Dig into the rules interaction. Find someone who could describe to you how things work. Now, on that note, I did say I would try to talk about at least one card that I didn't throw in here, and actually I want to talk about 2. These are both elves. They have very interesting abilities. First one is Savala, the Returned Traveler. Yes. Traveler Returned, I think. Do I have that right? Yes, Traveler Returned. Now, I could go into detail about this and that, but I'm just going to go into the ability. She has an ability that's called Parlay. Tap Savala. Every player turns over the top card of the deck. For each non-land card revealed this way, you will gain 1 green mana. So essentially, you could potentially gain 4 green mana at the cost of just tapping Savala. Not bad. And once that resolves, each of you draw a card. So you're basically drawing the card you just revealed. Okay? So, there are many ways. Now, as we're talking about utilizing untapped things in budget, talking about Calaria's ability and using either the Stalactite Dagger or basically some particular way of giving, some way of giving a creature type to other creatures, such as Zavala, such as Stony Brook. Doing those kinds of things can matter because every single time you are able to use this at instant speed as well. That's pretty important. Now, the next one is it came out of the D&D set, not Baldur's Gate, but the one before it. And this one is the Moon Dancer. She has a first name. I think it's Teresia, I think is the name. But it's Teresia Moon Dancer. If you type in a search of Moon Dancer, Magic the Gathering, she'll come up. But she only costs a green and a white, so it's 2 mana. That much I do remember off the top of my head, because I built one for one of my daughters way back when. But her ability is every time you gain 1 life, I think it's 1 life or 1 or more, but it's basically individual trigger of life gain. Every time you gain life, each instance you gain life, you can Moon Dancer gets a +1/+1 counter, and you can scry a card. Scrying means you get to look at the top card of your deck, and then you decide if you want to keep it on top or put it on the bottom. And you only get to scry 1 card. There's others that say scry 2, scry 3, etc., scry X. But this one in particular says scry 1. This is another one that fits into the whole life gain demographic as well. So, but I figured at least some sort of mismatch of cards that again, I did the same thing in the first season as well, of cards that are interchangeable as far as commanders are concerned, and when you're talking about the monocolor style. Okay. From there, you're going to see that a lot in the dual ones too. Okay. So I think today is going to be a good place to hit the end of this episode now. So thank you all for kind of popping in, seeing what this is about. I do have the main part of this channel is still focused on the miniature builds and all that kind of thing. However, I'm enjoying doing this once a month for a Magic the Gathering. And the reason why I do this once a month is because I have to literally research and dig and double check rule interactions. And also, if I was able to set myself up with a nice tab and just kind of scroll through things, it wouldn't be as interesting as being able to have a discussion. I'm hoping that at some point I'll be able to set up discussions with actual guests, with actual people who play the game and all of that. So they can share their thoughts and basically bounce things around and have people enjoy the conversation, essentially. But I hope you are enjoying at least me just sharing my thoughts with you. So, thank you again. This has been a fantastic night. I feel really good about it. And I am very happy with how this channel has been turning out between the miniatures and the Magic stuff. It's been it's been uplifting, I should say the least. It's nice to know that there are people who are looking for something out there. It doesn't have to be big name. It could be small name. Doesn't matter. You're looking for something. And yeah, I think I'll just end up rambling forever and ever, and I don't want to go doing that to you guys. So I want to say thank you all for subscribing. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for liking, your comments, the shares. And thank you just for myself. I will catch you on the next episode in May. It'll most likely be the end of May. So the next color I have picked in line for this, in accordance to a spring sort of setting of color, it's going to be the Azorius group, which is white and blue. So a lot of this side of it is heavy control for a lot of builds. I might just stick to one so it's not so controlling and self-serving. Ha ha ha. Anyway, so yes, but control is the biggest thing about Azorius. It just is a little preview and a heads up on that one. So, but I hope that I will be able to provide for people other ways to have fun with these particular color combinations. So, thank you once again. I appreciate everyone's time. I appreciate just even popping in. Thank you all. I will catch you in 1 month's time as far as the next video in Season 2 Seasonal Duels in Magic Kettle Discussions. This is Lex TF Games signing off. Good night, everyone.